Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our third session for our second annual Back to School Bootcamp. We are so happy to have you all here with us, and we have a very special guest who I'll be introducing in just a moment. If you can't hear me and you have headphones, check now's the time to be troubleshooting your devices, audio issues, make sure everything's all connected. If you have questions, you can put them in the question box, or we also have the chat enabled for today's session, and we'll be having moderators in there. So any questions you have for our guest or just about Banzai in general, go ahead and drop those in the chat and we will get those answered as soon as we can. This is session 3, Making Money Matter, bringing real life fun and engagement to personal finance, featuring Dr. Keona Griffin-King, our featured teacher. And Dr. Griffin-King is an educator, trauma-informed coach and educator, and education consultant with extensive experience working in urban high schools. She is 9 to 12 certified in business and marketing and currently teaches personal finance in a district that is diverse economically, ethnically, and in physical and learning abilities. Her work focuses on building trauma-informed, culturally responsive classrooms and curriculum that centers student voice and community realities. She presents nationally on learned helplessness, trauma, and solution-focused strategies in education and is passionate about empowering teachers to create classrooms that balance high expectations with high support. And we are so lucky to have her here today. If you're joining us, go ahead and throw in the chat where you're joining us from and what you teach, just so we get a sense of who is joining us for this session today. And we're going to turn it over to Dr. Kiki. Is that right?
Yep, that is perfect. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Keona Griffin-King. As the beautiful introduction said, feel free to call me Dr. Kiki. That is so much easier for people, especially when they see how my name is spelled. I am super excited to be with you all today. I see somebody from Harrisburg, somebody from DeSoto. Hey, I'm in St. Louis. So I see some Kansas people. I am so excited to get started with you. So I'm going to jump right in because we got a lot to get done today. So please throw your questions in the chat and Natalie will man that for me. And I think we are ready. Okay, you guys seeing my screen? Natalie, can you see my screen? Awesome. Okay, so as Natalie said, we will be talking about making money matter. And this is really teachers about bringing fun and real life into personal finance. Personal finance is already such a real life-based subject, but it can be made fun. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. So let's cover some objectives very quickly. I'm gonna move you guys a little bit. Okay. So some objectives we're gonna cover today are identifying and explaining the 5 money matters. We're gonna look at some sample lessons and give you an opportunity to analyze how we are incorporating realness, fun, and engagement into the learning experiences for students. And then you're going to get an opportunity to create or enhance a lesson, kind of practice some of this on your own and really look and see if your lessons are culturally relevant and trauma informed as well as interactive. So there are 5 matters when it comes to the money matters. It's the big matter, which is the overall picture of this work. The real matter, this is the relevance. The fun matter, how to get these interactive lessons. Engaging matter, and then the final matter. So let's start with the big matter. When I thought about this big matter, I'm thinking like big picture things. So all of our classrooms are full of students who bring book bags with supplies, Chromebooks, books, pencils, pens, but they also bring an invisible backpack. And in that invisible backpack are their lived experiences and the impact that those lived experiences has on them. And if you have been teaching for any amount of time, you will know that those things influence the teaching and learning that goes on in your classroom on a day-to-day basis, not just with you, but with the students as well. And so if you have 15 to 35 different personalities coming in with different invisible backpacks full of lived experiences that may be great. Hopefully they're all great, right? But the reality is some of those things in their backpack may be trauma of varying forms. Some of those things may be a cultural perspective that's not of our own. And some of those things may be cultural trauma, you know? And so we can't ignore who the kids are when they come into our learning spaces. We have to be more intentional about knowing our students so that we can know how to teach our students. I came from corporate America, and when I earned my MBA, one of the first things we learned was to know your audience, know your target market, so that you know how to market, how to sell your service or product to that market. It's important as teachers that we know our students so that we can then do trauma-informed teachers, because we need to know how adversity is impacting their learning. And then we need to be able to design lessons where our students feel safe and that their experiences are validated. Not only do we need to be aware of traumas and adversities that may impede on our learning, our teaching and learning, but we also need to be culturally relevant. I teach in a very, very diverse background school. When I say our population is diverse, we don't even have a majority at our school. And for me, when I went into this district, there were a lot of Latin speaking students who were coming from all parts of Mexico and South America. And so for me, not having experience teaching that large of a student population, I had to do some work on the back end. I had to learn about their culture. I had to pick up some words in their language. I had to adapt my teaching space to be able to meet their language needs so that there wouldn't be barriers to their language. And in doing that research, I discovered that first, a lot of places where they're coming from in Mexico and South America have a different value system around education. That's important to know because that clued me in on why it would be okay for them to think, oh, I can just take 2 weeks out of the school year, go visit my family in Mexico, and come back and everything be okay. Like, what? Where do we do that at? You know? But learning their value system and the way that their education system is structured in some of their native countries helped lend some understanding to why they were behaving the way that they were. And so I had to adapt my teaching to be culturally relevant to make sure those students not only knew that they were seen, but also that they were valued. And my lessons would start to reflect not just Native American and English speaking students, but them as well. Okay? And it increased their level of participation and engagement in the class. I partner all the time with our ELL department, especially on large projects or with programs like Banzai that have the modules that don't always switch over in the languages, because the way our programs are set up with the kids' Chromebooks, we can switch the language, that everything on the screen will be in their native language. And sometimes it doesn't work one-to-one. You know how technology is. So final part of the big matter, and excuse me if I'm talking fast, it's just we got a lot to cover. It's engagement strategies. This is the fun stuff, guys. I am so not a teacher for a semester worth of worksheets and dictionary work, because those are skills that master in the lower levels. At the higher levels, I want them to be more investigative learners. I want them to be critical thinkers, because when they're using these skills that they're learning in our classes, they need to be able to think critically about their budget, about their plan for savings and investing. And so I am trying to incorporate all of those things in engaging activities like debate and gallery walks and project-based learning, so the kids can get a deeper understanding, because it's requiring them to think on a deeper level. And this will promote ownership of the lessons, as well as hopefully lead to some type of long-term success. One of my two favorite things that I've heard as a teacher from students are, "Oh, Miss Griffin, I hate when..." Because it's expanding your capacity. Students always say, "All this reading and writing." So we'll get to that when we get to the final matter. Natalie, we okay? Any questions in the chat so far? Okay, great.
Yep, we're doing good.
Okay, so let's move into the real matter. This is the real life experiences that can go into your planning lessons for personal finance. Why does it need to be real and relevant? Because it builds trust with your students, because it's no longer feels theoretical and pie in the sky. When your lessons are relevant and based in reality and their lived experiences, it also motivates them. It validates who they are as people, culturally, economically, their trauma, all of those things, because now they feel seen. They feel a part of the experience, as opposed to experiencing it. Like, what's the word that I'm thinking of? They feel involved, enmeshed in it, as opposed to just touching it. You know, this being real and creating real lessons, and you're going to see some of those today, and I'm going to talk about some that I'd be more than willing to share that you won't see. But it helps us to create safe and supportive environments that are also strategically challenging. When kids are in an environment where the lessons are reflective of things that they can relate to, it gives them, it makes them feel more familiar and supported. Because if I can build a lesson off of your community, now you can see that, number one, I'm interested. I'm interested enough to do the work to investigate who you are and where you live, and make this lesson applicable to your everyday life. And now the gap between theoretical, practical, and reality is decreasing exponentially, because you can immediately take this theoretical lesson that's reality based and apply it to your real life. If you all are adult learners, if you've gotten your bachelor's, master's, doctoral degrees in university as a working adult, that's one of the things that they use to sell those programs, is that these programs are designed for people who work every day, so you can implement the things that you're learning immediately into your workspace. So this is what relevant, real lessons do for our students. And it all begins with knowing who your kids are. I'm gonna pause right there because I really want that to resonate with everybody. Know your kids. Know who they are. Know their strengths, their dreams, their stressors, what type of music they like. Know your kids. It's going to change the way that you all interact in a phenomenal way. It's going to change the way you plan lessons. It's going to change the way you deliver lessons. Know your kids. So next, after we have the real matter, because that was a little heavy, let's talk about the fun stuff. Fun lessons reduce anxiety and resistance. I don't know about you guys, but in my classes, I have a lot of students that suffer from ADHD and depression, and some of them have IEPs and 504 plans. Others of them do not. Some of them are suffering from these things and are undiagnosed. I also have a lot of students, unfortunately, this is the reality that we live in, that self-medicate for their anxieties and other things that they have going on. So when you have fun lessons, that automatically reduces the anxiety and resistance because kids want to engage. Then learning doesn't feel like labor and it's more inviting. Kids are already in my school, I'll say, they're not very eager to engage with people they don't know. They would rather kind of chill back, see who's going to go first. And you maybe out of a class of 30, you may have 6 that are just natural leaders that'll rise up, but everybody else will kind of just fall back and just observe, because I think the culture around how they interact in social media and things like that has a lot of influence. Like they can be really outgoing on social media, but then really laid back in real life because they're afraid to engage, because at least on social media, they have the filter of comments and not real life. And this is coming actually from a group of students. It's easier for them to be engaging online than it is in class, because in class, the feedback is immediate, unfiltered, raw, and they have to deal with it in reality right then. So fun lessons kind of cut through all that. It encourages your kids to be creative and expressive. All kids don't learn the same. All kids don't have the same personality. When you have lessons that are fun, you're able to reach all of those kids, even the ones who fall through the cracks, even the ones who aren't athletic or outgoing, that are more quiet and reserved. Fun lessons reach all kids. Okay? And it helps to make abstract concepts stick more readily. There are several times throughout, I can remember when I was very, very, very new to teaching, and I had a substitute teaching position in a chemistry class. And I was teaching some type of compounds and how compounds are formed. And it was like speaking a foreign language to kids. So I turned it into a whole soap opera, like a whole like gossip reel about how oxygen was hooking up with hydrogen 2 or 3 times, and they made a whole baby called it. And when I tell you, those kids were glued, and they can remember how compounds were formed, so just sometimes fun can make it stick better. So don't be afraid to take subject like personal finance and make it fun. I know one of the lessons I teach on cash flow. And so just, kind of talking through and going through notes and slide decks about how cash flow works, I make the students get up. And I have two people. One person is in charge of just keeping the time. And the other person is the one who monitors the door. And each kid, they don't know it in the beginning, but each kid represents $1. And the classroom is the wallet. And the person keeping the time, every 10 seconds or every 3 seconds, they give a directive to the person on the door and they'll say, okay, let $3 in, but $6, 6 people have to go out. And so after we do 2 or 3 rounds of this and the kids are like, why are we just getting up, walking in and out of the door? Then that's when I tell them, oh, so now you're curious. Okay, this is what cash flow in. So money coming in, all of you coming in the door, that's cash flow in. All of you that are put out, that's cash flow out. Each of you represents $1. So now that they know they represent money, then it changes the whole atmosphere in the room, and the concepts are starting to click. Like, oh, okay, so this is every time I spend money, this is every time I get money in, and it made sense. So don't be afraid to step outside of the lesson, be creative, think outside of the box to make something fun so that a very complex construct can be easily absorbed through movement or dance or some type of visual aid or some audio or something. Okay. So engaging matter. So this goes right in with the fun. Engagement honors diverse learning styles. I told you fun lessons gets all the kids involved. Engagement addresses every type of learner, whether they're kinesthetic, whether they're tactile, whether they're visual or auditory, or some conglomerate of any of those. Being able to engage students in different ways, again, lets learners know that I'm seen, and I don't have to worry about just being the person that can always present or the person who takes good notes from the slides and the presentations. Those kids who are kinesthetic and tactile get very bored sometimes in class because we aren't teaching to their style of learning. And that's not fair to those babies, right? Engaging lessons builds inquiry and it enhances decision-making skills. We want kids to be investigative learners. We want them to want to learn. And if we are creating environments where it's conducive for each type of learner to learn, we will produce investigative learners who want to learn how to think critically. And it also creates space for agency, not just compliance. I'm going to let that sit for a minute too. If you work with secondary students, which I think everybody in this group does, whether it's middle or high school, we want our students to have a voice and know how to use their voices responsibly. And yes, compliance is great for classroom management, but are they learning? When they're using their voice, that means they're thinking critically about the things that we're teaching. I was teaching a lesson on taxes, and we were covering transfer payments for FICA. And one of my students, her mom was like going through a divorce and some other things. And so they were in a temporary living space that was very much unlike what the child was used to. And as they're learning, and actually you're going to go over this lesson today, but what they were learning about was the different types of transfer payments, government subsidies that are available that come from their tax dollars. They come from FICA. And so the mom is talking to me at parent-teacher conference, and she says, Dr. Griffin-King, I can tell that the kids are learning in your class because my daughter came home and told me about this government program that she learned about in class that she thought could help us in our current situation. And at first, I was a little taken back because she was like, Mom, you need to look into this program called a government housing program. I think it's called Section 8. And maybe they can help us get a house. And the mom, at first, she was like, what? And she said, well, I learned about this in my personal finance class. And Dr. Griffin says that these programs help families that may be low income or having, meet this certain criteria. And she said, I was almost in tears because, number one, she's trying to help. And that lets me know that she's just not angry with me because of what we're going through. And it lets me know that the work that you're doing with the kids really is helping them. It's really going to be things that are useful to them. So having lessons that are engaging takes kids deeper into their understanding. And when they're relevant to their lives, when they're fun, then the test scores may not reflect their deeper connection to the material, but the way they respond to the lessons, the way they engage with the lessons, that should be an indicator. Okay, last matter, and then we're going to get into the fun stuff. So the final matter, and I call this final matter intentionally, because even though we teach personal finance, we are all teachers of reading, right? We want our kids to be critical thinkers and to be able to perform analysis, do those higher order DOK level things. Public speaking and presentation skills are so important because public speaking, I think, ranks third among top fears in adults. And so I've already expressed how a lot of my kids are suffering from anxiety and depression already. And so when they become adults, if they're put in a position where they have to do a presentation or public speak and they don't have that skill set, that could take them over the edge. And we're supposed to be preparing them to be productive members of this economic society, right? And so having fun, engaging, and relevant lessons that teach these skills, note-taking and executive functioning. If you have a lot of students that have experienced trauma, and for any period, they're in survival mode for a long period of time, when they're in survival mode, they're existing from the most mammalian, oldest part of their brain. And they are completely locked out of the executive functioning where learning occurs, where decision-making occurs. And so creating environments that are trauma-informed, that are safe, engaging, fun, and teaching higher order skills taps into a part of their brain, if you have traumatized students, that may be underdeveloped, may not be developing or functioning as it should because they've been in trauma in such for long periods of time. And if they're calm and regulated, then tapping into those executive functions creates neuroplasticities and all of that whole brain science stuff that makes them better learners. collaboration and soft skills are so important to us preparing them for work. If you work in high school and your students have internships coming up or they're starting to apply for jobs, one of the main culprits that employers are talking about are soft skills, soft skills, soft skills, soft skills. They may know how to do the job, but they don't know how to take constructive criticism. They don't know how to work with others. They can't stay off their telephones. They have terrible attitudes. They don't have any perseverance or grit. So teaching collaboration and soft skills, incorporating those into your lessons are paramount for our students, especially those who are of this generation, who are so involved with technology and social media that they don't interact with people physically as much as they should. And then, of course, we're post-COVID and we know all of the things that COVID did with socialization for these children. Okay? Now, we're going to transition because that was all the heavy stuff. We're going to transition, and I want to share with you now some lessons that I have done. By no means is this an exhaustive list of lessons, but these are just some that I've done that I thought would be great examples of these matters. And I want to give you the opportunity to kind of get into them on your own. I want to do like a little preview of each lesson, and then I'm going to share with you how to access them and what I would like for you to do with them. So there are 4 lessons. I have combined 2 into one activity. So the first lesson is a debate that I do in class, and this debate is over the value of peer-to-peer apps like Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, those kind of things. The second one is called Baddies on a Budget, and it is a blended lesson. And in this blended lesson, this is for the class that has multiple levels of learners. So you can do several modalities of delivering this same lesson. And it's based off of a video, and then there's a coordinating article. And so there are some creative things that you can do there. The next one is comprehensive final. And for this activity, the students have a choice to do a digital diorama or to write a 500-word essay, which will allow them to demonstrate knowledge of things that they've learned in the course. And the last one is the transfer programs that I spoke to you about. And with that assignment, the students are to act as a case manager for the state, and they will do a gallery walk, which will act as interviews with clients. And then based on those interviews, they have to recommend a type of government program, either whatever applies, so it could be one, it could be multiple. And then upon making their recommendation, they then have to reflect on the entire process. So when you get access to these lessons, there are some questions that I would like for you to answer. And these questions are provided for you in the learning area. So Natalie, can you pull up Google Classroom, please? You want me to stop sharing, then you can pull it up? You're muted.
Okay, I was trying to unmute and I couldn't find it for some reason. I'm like, let me unmute. Okay. Yes, here, oh, there's my Zoom window, don't want that. Join the class. Oh, hold on. Let me go back to that. Hold on just a moment. Any questions while we're getting this pulled up here? We've had lots of really great feedback.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Okay, let me try this again. Oh, I got it. There. There we go. Okay.
Awesome. So, Natalie is going to put up the link to this Google Classroom in the chat. And you will have access. Actually, Natalie, use the link that I sent you that has the code. Yes.
We're seeing it all behind the, and then I'll copy this.
Yep, perfect.
There we go.
So when you go into this Google Classroom, you can choose. Can you click on classwork for me, Natalie?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so as you can see, here are the four assignments. You can choose whichever one you are most interested in. When you click on it, thank you. Click view question. Scroll up.
Oh, there we go.
There you go, all the way up to the top. So here are the questions. Scroll down, Natalie, please. And you're going to answer them in that area that says type your answer. Each question will have the coordinating documents in it. I saw someone in the chat say, I don't have Google Classroom. That's okay. If you click the link, it'll take you straight to it. I can see someone saying it won't let me join the classroom as a student.
Maybe if they try the top, if they try the first link that I put in there, we'll see.
Okay. I see some people are in. I got 10 people in so far on my end. I'll send the invite from my end as well.
Okay, I'll try sending this again. Oh, and I had to use my personal account also. It wouldn't let me with my, so it could be if you are in a school account, you might need to sign in with your personal account.
Right, right. I just sent the link from my account as well. So
Oh, perfect. But if you can't get in, we can do we'll work on one together, maybe on screen.
Yeah, we can do a demo.
Yeah, we can do a demo so that you still, can see what's happening here.
Okay, let me look back.
So check the chat. We dropped a new link. If you can go, if you have a personal like Gmail or other account that you can try, it might be automatically trying to use your teacher account if that's what you have as a default. But if we can't get enough people in, we can also probably just kind of go through one and then send out a link to play around with.
Most definitely.
Okay. Oh, that worked for me. Personal Google. Okay, thanks, Kaylee. Am I saying that right? I hope. Okay, you're gonna have to only have a teacher account. And I actually don't have a Google account. I just signed in with my personal Gmail and it kicked me to the right page. So you could try that. I don't have a personal Google Classroom with my Gmail either. So it might work. Okay, so a few people are having luck with their personal account and then some others can't get in. So can you see how many people have joined yet?
Let me see. Because we, like you said, we may be able to just work through one for everyone else.
Personal worked. Our school profiles are associated with teacher can't be done. Okay. Okay, we need a code. let me grab the code. Oh, no, that's not the right one.
I got 21 people in,
Okay.
and that's pretty good.
I put the code in the chat if you want to try that. Oh, no, it's the wrong. There we go. I got too many tabs. Okay, is there a particular one we maybe want to just walk through here if we're having some people can get in, some people can't, or what do you think is the best path forward here?
Either or is fine with me, whatever you
Okay.
choose.
Oh no, you good. This is fantastic. I've taken like 2 pages of notes already.
Yeah, if you want to just go with this one that's on the screen, that's perfectly fine.
Sure.
You can't access the PDF. Veronica, which PDF is it?
So it's the Lumen PDF is there. Here, let's do baddies on a budget. That sounds like something my teenage daughter would love.
So for those of you that can't sign in, Natalie's gonna walk through on the screen. So everyone else that's kind of working independently, you got about maybe 7 or 8 minutes. So you might want to mute us so that you can kind of focus on what you need to do. And in 7 minutes or so, we'll come back together, maybe 5 minutes, because you wanted to stop a little early. So everybody, 5 minutes.
Okay,
5 minutes.
perfect. So 5 minutes, they'll work through one of the lessons on their own and we'll do this one together. Okay, so we've got our questions here and
So, yep. Open
Okay,
that.
open this PDF first. Okay. I love this. Do you want me to read it or do you want to read it?
No, go ahead. I want you
Okay.
all to do it and get the experience genuine for you.
Okay, perfect. I have a few people say that they're driving and trying to follow along. So I'm going to narrate this for you. So it says Baddies and Budget Blended Lesson. 31-year-old used her $1,200 stimulus check to start a cash stuffing business, and it's on track to bring in $1 million this year. Amazing. Okay. So this is a gallery walk.
Well, there are several things in here,
Okay.
Natalie. So there's a coordinating video with this. The
Okay.
link is on that home screen.
Okay.
The first screen, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
right here.
So you'll be able to show that to your students. This is especially good for those kids who aren't very good readers, or
Okay.
your ELL students, to have them watch the video first and
Okay.
then go through the article. She said they want to know if you can increase the size.
How's that? That better?
I think that's good. And so now, Natalie, you can go through the different ways to deliver this message in the
Okay.
next few screens.
Okay.
I'm going to step away and grab a charger, but I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. So there's a gallery walk. So you familiarize yourself with the article's topic, and then the students will walk around the room to read each section or page of the article posted on the walls. And then after reading each section, they'll use a sticky note or a comment card to write their comment. So refer to a legend to select the appropriate color. Okay, so multiple colors of sticky notes, and you use those to add a comment to facilitate a meaningful discussion. And then you stick it on the page that you're focusing on. So I love that because they're contextualizing it, they're up, they're moving, that's awesome. And then as you move from one section to the next, take a moment to read the comments left by your classmates. If you agree, have additional thoughts, or can answer a question posted by someone else, feel free to add your comment. So this is really interesting. Here's the gallery walk legend. She's got different icons. It says things like, this is interesting, you do a rectangle. This is funny, you've got a smiley face. I want to know more about this, has an oval. Please explain, has a triangle. A star for I see how this applies to the lesson, a heart for I like this, a plus for I learned about this in another class, a diamond for I don't like this. And then there is a silent debate. So you can pick a partner, fold a sheet of paper, and then without talking and only writing, you write a debate for and against the information in the article. So just another way to do this assignment. Or there's a video summary. Watch the video and write down the things you remember or find interesting. Use the article to clarify and support details. At the end of the video, draw a 6-panel comic strip or create a 6-slide presentation that summarizes what you learned in the video. Be sure to include any words you learned or any key terms you hear. I mean, this is fantastic. Small group read aloud for targeting a low level or a poor reader. Teacher reads aloud on a projector after watching the video, highlights the key terms, and then you can have facilitated discussion that way. And then this is the article.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So it just talks about how her stuffing cash envelopes went viral on TikTok, and she turned it into a cash stuffing business, baddies and budgets. So that's really cool. Okay, so we've got the article here. So just lots of different ways to approach it. So then we go to these questions. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here's where I'm going to need help from the teachers. I got to open my comments back up here and see. Okay, so how does this activity connect students' real life experiences, cultural identities, or community realities? Consider relevance, familiarity, and emotional resonance. I'll go first if someone else wants to chime in, or do we want to wait for more people to join and then we can do it together? Is our 5 minutes? How many minutes are we into this?
You got about 2.5, 3 minutes.
Okay, so if anyone, maybe what we'll do is,
if anyone wants to answer in the chat, maybe?
Yeah, answer it in the chat. And if they want to, they could either message it to everyone or they could message it to just me. And then when we talk about this, I can share it or however they want to do it. Probably the chat for everyone would be great. So if you want to answer any of these questions related to that specific lesson, then we've got lesson or question number 2. In what ways does the activity make learning fun or joyful without satisfying rigor? Think about creativity, voice, or choice built into the task. Question 3, how does this lesson encourage deep engagement, not just completion? Look for opportunities for inquiry, ownership, or collaboration. 4, where do you see trauma-informed practices showing up, or where could they be better integrated? Consider emotional safety, flexibility, or alternatives for expression. And then 5, how might this lesson be received by students from different backgrounds or learning needs? Reflect on accessibility, inclusivity, and whose story or worldview is centered. So awesome, awesome questions. And if you've got some answers you want to share with us in the chat, that would be great. We already have a few in there. Keep them coming.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah, the silent debate's a great idea. You know, I really love that this is centered on a story about someone who had a problem that needed a solution and a creative way to do that. Because sometimes we read stories about people who got a lot of money and already had a lot of money, or just things that feel like really out of touch. It feels a lot more relatable to have it be about someone who's maybe in a more similar situation, you know, struggling and didn't start out in
on
kind
top.
of spot. Right.
Okay, we got about 1 minute left. I see a couple of comments in to everyone, so they're really starting to roll in now. Awesome.
Yeah, great comment. So everyone head to the chat to see the good discussion happening there. Just about students making connections to their lives in order to understand. It's got to be relevant.
Oh, these are great.
Yeah, these are great. Alyssa, I agree. The title Baddies on a Budget is engaging to high schoolers. I've got a 16-year-old daughter and I thought, you know, she'd want to hear that lesson. And yeah, that's important, right? And that's just maybe changing your title. And if you tuned into our first session with Eric Kurtz talking about AI, maybe something you could do is throw your titles into AI and say, hey, make this title more relevant to high schoolers.
Most definitely. That's a great idea. Okay, we are at 2:50. And can I have the share back from you, Natalie?
Absolutely. There we go.
Awesome. Okay, so I hope everyone was able to either put information in the chat or drop their responses to the questions in the Google Classroom. We are really pressed for time, so I wanted to give you the opportunity to try to enhance one of your own lessons, or this is a lesson straight from the Banzai curriculum. This is from the middle school workbook. I don't know if you all work with the workbooks or the modules or the library. My class, we tend to use all of the resources in some capacity. So this, I thought, would be an interesting lesson that everybody, regardless of middle or high, could work on. And it's really just teaching students about the banking process, specifically how to write checks and deposit slips. So we are really pressed for time. I would encourage you to, because we're pressed for time, to take these notes from this presentation and see if you can apply them to one of your own lessons. Either as, a checklist, like, hey, is this fun? Is this relevant? Is this engaging? Is this culturally responsive? Is this trauma informed? Or use some of the tools from the lessons that you went through in the sample and see how you can enhance the lesson. Maybe it's something as simple as, like Natalie suggested, changing the title to make it more engaging. One thing that I often do with publisher resources is I go in and I change all of the names. So if the names in the assignment are Sally and Steve and Jean, I go in and I change them to actual names of my students. When I'm giving examples during lessons, especially if it's things like entrepreneurship or them being parents or making decisions, I use them in the example. So I'll say, for an example, Natalie, you own a bakery. And we're talking about supply and demand. Natalie, you own this bakery, and the bakery is da 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 da. And what that does is plant a seed in Natalie's mind, because maybe no one ever told Natalie, you could be a business owner, girl. You could own a bakery. You could run a Fortune 500 company. So maybe it's something as simple as that. Okay, so we are running out of time. So just some last reflections. If anyone wants to throw something into the chat or maybe unmute and respond to these two prompts, one or both. Of the strategies or examples today, what resonated with you? What did it reveal about how personal finance can be made more meaningful and accessible to our kids? Think about your current instruction. What's one area you now realize could benefit from more cultural relevance or trauma-informed design, or even just more student-facing engagement? Because so much is about getting through the lesson, right? Getting through the scope and sequence, getting them to be proficient. But what if we shifted the focus to be more student-facing, more student-centered? Okay? And finally, what can you take from this presentation to shift that one lesson or that one topic, the way that you approach it? So I'll leave these up for a second in case you need to screenshot or you need to read over really quickly. I see some things are coming up in the chat. Okay. So are there any questions for me before I let you go? Any questions?
I mean, I think everyone's just as loving all these ideas. looking for, you've got some good ideas on a gallery walk. People love the idea of using student names and examples. Yeah, everyone likes someone to know their name, so that's great. Um,
Take baby steps. Just start there,
yep,
you know?
yep, that was great. Yeah, this was a great presentation. I agree 100%.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you so.
you.
I'm gonna oh, I guess we're running up here to the end here. Let me
I
look.
know, right? It
Yeah,
came
there's the
so
QR
quickly.
code. Did you want them to use the QR code to take a survey, just give you feedback?
No. The
Nope.
survey questions I sent to you, this
Okay.
QR code just has my contact information for
Okay.
my personal business, but I did put my school email address down here as well. So either or, you can scan the code, get the information about me, my coaching business, my education stuff, or you can reach me directly at the school.
Okay, so awesome. Thank you so much. What an amazing resource and lesson for us today. I'm just going to wrap up really quick with just a few items of housekeeping. You will earn PD credit for this session. You'll get an email with a survey that will include a spot for you to drop a comment and just tell Dr. Keehee how much you loved this lesson and the ideas it sparked. And we'll share that with her. And then you'll get a certificate in your email with your PD credit. We've got 2 more sessions today in our back to school boot camp. Session 4 is next. It's standards solved, Banzai's easy curriculum alignment, and it's showcasing our new curriculum alignment tool. And that's just going to be a short 30-minute session with Rick Curtis, a curriculum writer here at Banzai. And then the final session I will be doing at 2:30 until 3. So thank you so much for your time. Keona, that was amazing. And we've all learned so much. Thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you.